Hey, look at that. If you hit the mute button, it tends to fix things. Thank you for the heads up in chat. Okay, so obviously you guys know I'm Jason, jasonscustoms.com. Today we're going to stream and we're going to do some live testing with the wide lag tester, which is based on Arduino and some software that he ran. And I see your guys' chats. I think you guys can hear me now. I've got the mic on, and it looks like it's bouncing off, so we should be good. Excuse me. But anyways, so what we're going to do, let me grab the device. Here we go. Is we are going to do this right here. Here you go. We're going to do some lag testing using this. This is an Arduino. This is an Uno with a SaneSmart USB host shield on top. This is just a piece of wire I soldered to a pin that plugs into the female socket. And the other end of this, we are going to crimp on one of these nice alligator clips to make it easier so I don't have to sit there and hold it like this to the button signal when we're doing the testing. I did that the other day. It is a huge pain in the butt. So we're gonna do all of this in Arduino, and today we're gonna test 3 fight sticks. I've got a Hori VLX Diamond. I've got a Catz TES Plus. That's the new Shadaloo one, and then I've got a Catz TE2 Plus over here, and we're gonna test all 3 of those today. But to make this easier, like I said, we are going to crimp one of these alligator clips on to this wire first. So let's go ahead and do that now. Hopefully you guys can hear me out there. Give me something in chat just to confirm, and I would appreciate it. Okay, so these are just some alligator clips, not anything super special. You can get them in any electronics store. Here in Japan, I got them at a place called Holmes. They have a lot of weird random things available for purchase. So this was one of the things that I purchased there to make this job a little bit easier. And what we're going to do is we're going to just pull the clip out, and you'll see here that it's got these little tabs here, and let's see, we'll just use our nail nose pliers here to go ahead and affix the wire to the clip. So I'm just going to run it inside the boot first. Good, I'm glad everyone can hear me now. Okay, good. And then I'm going to run this up through the hole like so, and then back this way, and hopefully, this is kind of like a ghetto way to do this. I probably should just solder this in, but I don't really feel like getting my soldering iron out, and I think this will work. Alright, so then we're going to just go ahead and use these, and we're going to just fold these ears down like so, and push them down onto the wire like so. So I've got this new mat here, so I have some situational awareness of what you guys can see on camera and what you can't. So like the Jason's Customs logo is right center, so I know if I'm getting back this way, I'm coming off camera. This was a much needed addition to my stream setup, especially when you're doing tech stuff like this. Alright. So good. Now we got that in, and you can see that the wires are a little frayed there, which is exactly what we want. And we'll go ahead and bend this out like that. We'll take the boot, excuse me, and see if we can't make this all just fit right back in here like so. Come on. If we can't, it's not a huge deal, it's just, we should probably try and get it to work. And in we go. So now we have a insulated alligator clip. We're going to grab our fluke here real quick. Go ahead and stick this on beat mode. This just tests continuity. And what we'll do is, oops, disconnect that. We're going to connect that up to the alligator clip and clip it on. Sounds like my neighbor's home. That's a Scooby outside. Alright, there we go. And hit this. Alright, good. We got good connection, so the little trick worked. Awesome. Now we can just hook this up to the button and kind of have a hands-free test rig And we're testing this all out, so that's good. All right. Let me go ahead and share a couple things with you all in chat real quick. I'm going to come over here. I guess eventually I'm going to need to get a camera over here so I can swap it when I come off, because I have a tendency to just kind of walk off camera and do things and just talk to you guys. So I apologize. I actually do have a camera to set up over here. I just haven't hooked it up yet. Okay, so let me go ahead and add, well, before I do that, yeah, actually I'm going to add a screen. All right, window capture. I didn't have this all set up ahead of time. And I'm going to add a new source. I'm going to call this live website. All right. And let me just add it real quick. And there we go. All right, so there you go. Well, that's no good. Well, I would show you here the website, but guess what? It's not showing up. So I'll just share the GitLab link here in the chat so everyone has it. And for those of you who may be watching this later, the website is gitlab.com/loic.petit/USB-lag. Again, that's gitlab.com/Lima Oscar India Charlie period Papa Echo Tango India Tango / Uniform Sierra Bravo Lima Alpha Golf. Hoi. All right, and some of the files were just updated recently. All right, so let's see if we can add this other thing. I'll show you the first capture or data source I caught a couple days ago when I was trying to get everything up and working. And why is this? Oh my gosh, this is being a real pain in the butt. So yeah, that black screen looks pretty sweet. Oh, I don't know why OBS Labs is being such a pain in the butt. You should be seeing a fancy picture right now of what's happening, but obviously that's not the case. So let's let me just cancel out of this, delete it. Maybe I'll just do a stupid window capture. Ugh, what a pain. Or let's see. No, I want to do a desktop capture. Yikes. Well, I don't know what to tell you guys. This is being a real pain in the butt. Okay, well, I guess in that case what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and make this thing public. Screw it. And you guys can just load it up and see for yourself. Alright, there we go. Try that. Okay, so if you happen to go to that link that I just shared in the chat, this is the... It's really frustrating. I'm actually really annoyed right now that I can't show this with you guys on the stream because OBS Lab is being a stupid dick. For a lack of better terms. Oh my god. Anyways, so if you load that up, you're going to see a bunch of numbers there on the left. Launching test, followed by a bunch of numbers. That first one is if USB is overclocked, i.e. 0 milliseconds, or excuse me, 1 millisecond polling interval. The middle one is your usual polling, which is 8 milliseconds, and then finally your third is your 10 millisecond poll. And basically what this does is, and we're going to show this, I promise, on screen here in a minute. You plug this here, which you guys should see me pointing to, this USB into your computer, and then you plug the fight stick you want to test into this USB type A port. So B goes into your computer, A goes into the fight stick goes into that, and then you run the test. And what it does is it sends a signal over this wire, hooked up to pin 7. Pin 7, yep. You plug this into the signal wire on your fight stick, that on your button input or whatever, and then you hit the T for test. You type in T for test in the Arduino serial, and then it runs 1,000 tests. It literally takes this signal and drives it low 1,000 times so that it gets a large sample set of files, or not files, I'm sorry, that's not right, a large data set of testing the throughput of the PCB. And it's important you do a lot, because the bigger your sample set, the more accurate your results are. Now, if you've got that spreadsheet open that I shared the link to in the chat, you're going to see 3 colored sets. You got your orange, your blue, and your green, and that represents the 1 millisecond USB, the 8 millisecond, and the 10 millisecond USB. Now, ideally, what you want is you want those to be super tight, and you want them to be as far left as possible. So if you look right above the lag distribution chart, you're going to see % no skip, % 1 frame skip, 2 frame skip, and 3 frame skip. Well, what this is saying is 19% of the time, it's going to read your button right away, which is bad. You want that to be as close to 100% as possible. And then, if it when it gets down to the next one, % skip 1 frame, that means 81% of the time, this particular fight stick, it's going to register your input 1 frame later than you expect, i.e. 1 frame later than you pushed it. And then so forth and so forth. So basically, in the overclock, meaning you're driving the USB port on a PC at 1 millisecond polling rate, 19% of the time it's going to read it right when you push it, but realistically 81% of the time it's going to read on the first frame, and then more than likely it's going to hit on the second or third frame, just because of averages. Okay, and then you get over to your usual, i.e. your 8 milliseconds. That's what your console runs at, so your PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, whatever. It is going to register 0% of the time, 0% of the time, when you push that button on the frame that you push it. Now, this is the TES, the PS3 version, the Tekken Tag 2 PS3 version, which is this model fight stick right here, which you guys can see. This is the TE style. All these PCBs on the inside, with the exception of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 one, they're the same. Wide and I've confirmed that. He had some TES and TE data from another user. I hooked this one up, did the test, and guess what? The data was the same. So all of these TE fight sticks have incredibly bad latency. They're very, very bad in terms of responsiveness. So that's why things like the TE Easy Mod exists, so that you can put a universal fight board in there which responds faster. In any case, what this is saying is 100% of the time, your PlayStation is not going to recognize that. You're not going to get that output to your PlayStation on frame 0, i.e. the frame that you push it, it's not going to happen. 58% of the time, it's going to be on the frame right after you push it, and then 42% of the time, it's going to skip 2 frames before it registers. So you could be at 3 frames delay after you hit a button on a TE fight stick before your console recognizes it. That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. So, I'm hoping that as we build up this body of evidence, the community, because the nice thing is all of this is open source. This Arduino is like 20 bucks on Amazon. The shield is like 5 bucks on Amazon. The piece of wire, most people who mod have these. You can make one of these lag testers yourself and submit data all day long, and guess what? You're just building a body of evidence. So people who want the most responsive fight sticks can find and sift through all that data and say, hey, this is the best, I'm going to use this one. I don't care what it looks like, I care that it performs. So, hopefully, we can continue to evolve the community, and fight stick makers will notice this, because people who are serious are going to skip buying brand X, Y, or Z in favor of A, B, or C because they just perform better. And when you're dealing with tight timings like you are in fighting games, you need to know that when you push that button, it's going to register right as soon as possible. Now, obviously, each game has its own delay built in and stuff like that, but hey, it happens. Okay, the music is too loud. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can turn that down a little bit. Alright, let me know if that's a little bit better. Alright, there we go. Please and thank you. So, yeah, that is kind of the overall goal of this whole thing. Okay, now let's go ahead and get our first setup going here. Now, I'm going to share my Arduino window with you. Ah, good. Let's see here. Add. Okay, so here's the Arduino. We'll just go ahead and put this like right here, like that, because you care about seeing that. All right, so this is the code that is installed on this device here, which is sitting exactly perpendicular to the light, which is giving that nice glare, so I apologize for that. And again, this is developed by Wide. You can download it, and if you want to mess with it and try something else, by all means, I shared that GitHub link. Give it a try. Sorry, I'm also drinking. Alright, so now this right here in itself, it's useful, but we don't care about this. What we really care about is the serial output of the device. So using just this mess of a USB cable here, let me go ahead and plug it into the computer so I can get it properly sorted here, I guess. Alright, so we'll just plug that in like that. Clips into place. Alright, find an open USB port. That's always fun. Here we go. Come on. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We got that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to Tools. Hopefully you guys can see that on the screen. Tools. And then go to Serial Monitor. And it's going to open up a window that you can't see. So let me go ahead and hide this window. And let's add the serial monitor now. Because again, that's what you actually want to see. Add source. And we want this here. Alright, cool. Alright, so here is the serial monitor. I don't know what I just did there. Alright, here we go. Don't mind me, just gonna make that a little bit smaller. Alright, we're gonna put that down here in the lower right. Alright, and let's see. Yep, alright, this has got power, so that's good. And the first stick we're gonna use is we're gonna use this TES Plus because I have it easily accessible, and I can just take the panel off. This was one of those Type N panels we made for it that unfortunately all the guts on the inside are going to interfere with, so we're not going to make these. Alright, so we'll set that aside there, and I apologize for the mess that you're seeing in the back. I know it's not great. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and grab this mess of wires here, and I don't remember which is which, so I do know that the blue here, one is ground and one is the signal wire, so let's just go ahead and take the boot off of both so we have access to it. And let's go ahead and open this. So we have the cable out. As you can see, I've not used this stick except for measurements. Alright. And hopefully with any luck, we plug this in and our serial monitor gives us some data. All right, good. Okay, so it says HID controller initialized, and it gives us some data there initially. That data is just some initial polling. It's not a huge deal. And it's just probably because there's an open here. Look at that. All right. And let's go ahead and attach it to this blue wire here. Like so. All right, that's not the right blue wire. It's still pulling data, so let's go ahead and attach it to this one. All right, cool, that should be it. And let's go ahead and come over here and clear the output. All right. And now, let me see. I just want to make sure I type the right command in. I'm pretty sure it's just T, but I want to double check. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to override it by typing in O. We want type O in the serial console here and hit enter. And now the polling interval is 1 millisecond. All right, and now we type in the letter T and then hit enter. And look at that, all that input is being dropped, which means I think I have it connected to the wrong input, which is fine. Or it's just really that bad of a PCB. I think it is just connected to the wrong input, which is fine, because watch, what we can do is just disconnect while it's going. Connect it over here. Hey, look at that, now it's got data. My bad. All right. And actually, it looks like it's pretty fast, which is cool. All right. But mind you, that's on 1 millisecond overclocked, if you will. And that just means that's how often the USB is polling for data returns. Normally it's 8 milliseconds. All right, that is finished. Let's go ahead and clear it now that we actually have it hooked up properly. We'll hit O again. Whoops, we'll type in O just to verify. All right, we're at 1 millisecond. Type T for test, hit enter, launching test, and here it goes. Those numbers look very, very promising. So we're gonna let that go. And like I said earlier, it is cycling this 1,000 times. So what it's doing is it's setting this wire low, because this is actually the signal wire. Each button has a ground and a signal. And basically when you push the button in, what's happening is the button actually connects the signal to ground, like this. And that's what tells the microprocessor on the PCB to register your input, and then it does its magic and sends it out as data over USB. So what this is doing is it's simulating this 1,000 button pushes all automatically, and it's important that it's automatic and it's all done by the computer, and by the computer I mean the Arduino, because it knows timestamp of the ground signal being sent, and then it can tell when the data is received over USB. That's why this USB exists. So it can tell that time difference and calculate it, and that's what it just did. So let's come back over here, and I apologize. What I'm doing now is just copying all this. I'm sure you guys can see that no problems. All right. And this takes a second, which is awesome. All right. And we're gonna right click. Well, I guess right click doesn't work, so we'll hit Control C for copy as I get really close to the mic. And then I'll come over here, which you can't see. I'm gonna save this as a copy, and we're gonna call this the Catz TES Plus, and this is Shadaloo. And that's the PS4 version. And yeah, we're on PS4 mode, so that's good. Okay. Hit OK here. And then what I'm going to do is I am just going to paste this in like so. Edit paste. All right. Oh, cool. All right. So at the 1%, or excuse me, the 1 millisecond polling interval, that's an overclocked USB. So this is only valid for PC because your PlayStation 4 and Xbox 360, I don't think polls at 1 millisecond. 80% of the time, on frame 1, this fight stick sends its data. So 80% of the time, when you push that button on frame 0, it's sent to the PlayStation. So that's good. 20% of the time, it goes after frame 1. All right, so let me share this link with you guys in the chat here so y'all can see it. All right, there we go. Boom. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is now we're gonna set this to a nominal 8 milliseconds. So let's go ahead and clear this output. And let's see. I need to just look at the thing. Okay, so now we hit P, or N rather, on the serial port here. That's going to set it back to normal. Okay, back to normal. Then we're going to type T again. We're going to test that out. And here we go. We just let it do its thing. And now we're going to test what it looks like when we force the USB port to operate normally. 8 milliseconds of polling. And again, what polling means is every 8 milliseconds, it's like, how can I explain this? It's like, okay, you have a bunch of people yelling outside of the room, and your room is completely sealed off except for your window. It's also soundproof when it's shut. So it's like every 8 milliseconds, you open the window and then close it briefly. So for those, every 8 milliseconds you open it up, you can hear what everyone's yelling at you, and then you close it, and then you can't hear them anymore. So that's kind of what polling is like, if I had to kind of describe it in some sort of physical sense. So, all right, we're gonna let this go. It's doing its thing. This alligator clip was a brilliant idea. I'm glad I did it, because holding it here is a huge pain. All right, so now we've got all the data done. So let's go ahead and just copy everything. Control C, and let's go ahead and type this into, or paste this into here. Control V. All right, and all right. So at the normal settings, which is what we're gonna see when we're actually using this in like PlayStation 4 rather. 45% of the time, 45% of the time, it's going to register on frame 0. That means 55%, over half the time you push that button, it doesn't register on that first frame. 55% of the time, it's going to skip a frame. So basically, you're looking at probably frame 1, maybe frame 2, that when you push that button, it's going to register. So this, much better than the TES, the old version. So that's good, I guess. But it's still not as tight and as fast as we want it to be. Really, competition in the fight stick game is so fierce now, you need this to be super, super narrow and super fast. You want this to register in the 93, 94, 98 percentile of on the first, frame 0, if you will. Okay, so now let's go back over here and let's go ahead and clear the output. And then I think we type N10. Whoops. N10. No, that's not right. Oh, I'm sorry. S10. So we want S10 like that. All right, so now the polling is at 10 milliseconds. Let's clear the output. And let's type T for test, and then hit go. Whoops. T for test, and then go. And now we let it do its thing. Now this is 10 milliseconds. This is for descriptor testing, not a huge deal. I don't think that anything pulls at actually 10 milliseconds, so this is just extra data. But Wide has requested it, so we're going to give it to him. So while that's doing this, I want to show off this cool new hat I got. I picked this up at the Pokemon Cafe in Tokyo yesterday. New era hat, nice little Pikachu on the top, a little Pikachu tail / lightning bolt on the back there. I love these hats. New Era does such a great job, and I can definitely walk around here in Japan with a Pokemon hat on, and people don't look at you funny because it's huge here. So it's kind of nice. All right. Whoops. All right. So this is still going, so that's good. We're almost done with this one, although we should probably test in PS3 mode as well, just for giggles. Alright, so that's done. Oh, look at that, I saved some time. Control A definitely works. Alright, then we'll just paste that here. Oh wow, 10% stink, or 10 milliseconds stinks. I actually have the Nikon Daija upstairs, and I am going to do a breaking down the stick episode on that, and I'm going to incorporate these tests into those episodes, so that's going to be huge. Really, what I need to do is, I'm actually looking for some office space here in Japan, so that I can actually have a nice studio set up where it's just basically a room that all I do is video in. I'm just trying to find one first, because right now what you can't see is I've got my main machine here, I've got an entire retro setup here, I've got Fight Sticks here. This closet is full of parts and stuff that I saw on my website, and I just don't have a lot of room to work in here, and it's super annoying, so I'm trying to find that. But I have the Daija. It's still in the box. And I've also got the Hori new mini stick that they came out with. I don't think it's in the States yet, but I did buy it here in Japan. I gotta try that one next as well. So I'm gonna do formal breaking down the stick episodes on those for YouTube, and it will include all this. Okay, so if you got that that spreadsheet open, you can see that with the 10 millisecond, 8% of the time it registers. That's terrible. 84% of the time it skips frame 1. 7% of the time it skips frame 2. So really, probably frame 3 is when you're actually going to get your inputs in 10 milliseconds. That's terrible. I don't think it will ever be that slow because the USB is normally at 8 milliseconds. But here you go. So yeah, that's the PlayStation 4 test of the TES, so that's good. Now let's go ahead and do this. Let's shift this over to PS3. That probably freaked everything out on the Arduino, which is fine. But let's go ahead and make a copy of this. I'm gonna share it with the same people, and I'm gonna call this Mad Catz TES Plus Shalu. We're going to call this PS3 mode. Like that. Alright. Okay. And let's go ahead and open our comms here. Alright, cool. So it did find it, so that's good. Let's go ahead and clear our output. And let's change our polling back to normal. So, our override to 1 millisecond, so that's good. Let's clear the output again and type T, and then, whoops. Apparently when you click clear output, it takes your cursor away. All right, and then we'll run the test. Okay, so this is in PlayStation 3 mode on the same Fight Stick, and we're gonna let it run its 1,000 tests, and we'll just sit back and wait. Apparently I'm coming down with something, so that's pretty awesome. You can see here on the screen that it's going nuts. I don't know why none of my ads are working. That stinks. I mean, I gotta pay the bills somehow, so I gotta advertise to you guys. Open. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Done. All right, cool. Now we can pay the bills. By pay the bills, I mean now you guys can get to my website easier and find stuff you need. Okay, so this is good. This is done, so let's go ahead and just copy and paste this into our spreadsheet. Copy, Control A. Then we'll go here, Control V. All right. Ooh. All right, so looking at it in the PlayStation 3 mode, 82% of the time it doesn't skip on at all. 18% of the time it skips frame 1. Then if we look at, it's actually, so it's a little bit faster in PlayStation 3 mode. That's very interesting. It is 2% faster. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and press P, not just P. That would be weird. All right, so P sets it back to the 8 milliseconds, and let's type T for test, and then hit enter. All right, so it's going through and it's doing its 1,000 inputs, and we should have some data here in a second. So tonight, I think we're going to probably go to a little town called Enoshima here on the Mira Peninsula. They have a lantern. Oh my gosh, excuse me. They have a lantern festival every year. Last year was our first year here in Japan, and we didn't go see it. And I'm really upset that we didn't. So I think we're gonna go see it today. And we're just waiting on a delivery of Sailor Moon T-shirts that my wife ordered. That we have to do COD on because all of our credit cards have US billing addresses. But that's one of the beauties of living here is they'll ship things COD, you just pay them when they show up, and it's no big deal. It's like a $3 charge or a 300 yen charge. It's nothing. Totally worth it. Makes it super easy. Alright, so that's done. Go ahead and copy that. And this is the 8 millisecond, which is normal. Okay, so 19% of the time it's going to catch on frame 0, 80% of the time it'll catch on frame 1, and then 1% of the time it's going to catch on frame 3. So that's interesting. Let's compare that to the PlayStation 4 mode. Ooh, it is crappier than the PlayStation 4 mode. Alright, so 19% of the time it skips on frame 0, but in... Or I mean, sorry, 19% of the time it catches on frame 0 in PlayStation 3 mode, but 45% of the time it catches on frame 0 in PlayStation 4 mode. So that's huge. PlayStation 4 mode on the normal 8 milliseconds is faster. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and change this to S10. Okay, 10 millisecond, and then clear. And then hit T for test. There you go. Alright. And now we run it in the 10 millisecond range. Good. Alright. Whoops. Oh, alright, so this is going, and now we're just waiting. I can't sit still, I'm sorry. It's just not me. Famicom disk system guy. Keeps me company, since I don't like to let my cats in here while I'm streaming. No one wants to hear them meowing and scratching at me for food. Then again, I would argue you guys don't want to listen to me drone on about all this tech stuff either, but you guys keep coming, so I keep doing it. Alright, so that's all done. Let's go ahead and copy and paste this over. Alright. Alright, so 9% of the time in 10 millisecond, it'll register on frame 0. 84% of the time it'll skip one frame, or catch on one frame. 7% 7% of the time it's going to skip 2 frames. Oh my gosh. And then 0% of the time will it skip 3 frames, so I guess that's good. Compared to the PlayStation 4, it's slightly better at 10 milliseconds in PlayStation 3 than it is for PlayStation 4. So that's interesting. But there you go. So that was the TES Plus. Oh, it's okay. In PlayStation 4 mode, it's pretty good. PlayStation 3 mode, it's not so great. So I don't know that I would necessarily buy this stick for that. But if you want to make this even better, we do offer an easy mod for it on our website, jasonscustoms.com. Let you put a Brook Universal Fight Board in here and make it go super fast. Alright. So let's go ahead and put this guy away. Like so. Alright. Now, because I'm not ready for punishment yet, we're going to do the TE2 Plus. So this is the Asia edition, right? You can see nice gray graphics. Now, I am going to venture a bet here that this fight stick is probably identical in capabilities to the TES Plus. And I say that because let's look at this. This here and this here, they look pretty similar, right? These two things, they're identical. So that leads me to believe that the PCB inside of the TE2, while it's different, it's probably the same. Why would they change it? They wouldn't. That would be an R&D nightmare. Oh, thank you, Vash. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like the easy mods. I like making them. All right, so let me. What I'm gonna do now. This is the Catz TE2 Plus. We're gonna call this PlayStation 4 mode. Okay. I'm gonna share it. Yep. Okay. Oh yeah. I mean, I manufacture a lot of stuff for my business. And if I can reuse parts, I'm going to, because that helps keep the price of things down. That's just common sense. So, yes, I definitely think that Catz is reusing all the code, at least, for all of these. No, I will not be doing anything else for Quamba. Sorry. They actually kind of irritated me. They sent me a pretty nasty Facebook message after I did a review of the drone and the carbon, and basically said they wouldn't send me any more review units because they didn't like the way I reviewed them. They didn't think I was fair in my reviews. Now, let me be clear about their stuff. It's not bad stuff. It's pretty decent for the price points. But the things that I comment on in my reviews are the modability, i.e. the things that you can physically change or adjust in the fight sticks easily. And they were not happy that on the drone I gave it an F for advanced modding. And I gave it an F for advanced modding because, one, it's an inexpensive fight stick, so they made some design choices that limit what you can do on them. You can't change the button layout. You have to use some sort of vinyl artwork or wrap if you want to change the way it looks. You can only change buttons and a lever. If you want to put a Brook Universal Fight Board in it, it's a whole heck of a lot of soldering and there's not a lot of room in it, and for that I gave it an F in advanced modding. But I gave it like a B+ or a C in basic modding because you can swap out some of the parts pretty easily. And they didn't like that, and they said I wasn't fair, so I'm not super inclined to support their products because they don't understand, or they didn't understand what I was trying to get at. They just said I was slamming their fight sticks and saying they were garbage, when that's not what I was saying at all. I was just saying, if you buy it, you can't do certain modifications to it, and they didn't like that. So, there you go. But I digress. Okay, so now we got the TE2. Crap, I don't have a cable for it. I mean, I do, I just gotta find one. Conveniently, you just go to your stash and you find one of your pro cables that you sell. $19.95 on my website. All right. Yeah. So I mean, I try to with my reviews. I don't look at them as like quality versus price or anything like that, because you know, if it's a plastic fight stick, I don't think they're high quality. That's just my take. That's, you know, I make all metal fight sticks for a reason. I've been doing it since like 2011. So, and then selling them since 2012. There's a reason I do that. One, they're just, you know, higher quality. Metal's just better than plastic. It doesn't crack. It doesn't creak. So, why? Yeah. So there you go. So, I'm a little biased in that, but all right. So there we go. Yeah. So I look at when I do my reviews, I look at them from a modability and performance standpoint. And now that I've got this fancy tool, I can really provide valuable scientific data on the performance, not just, you know, hey, can you mod it? Is it easy? Whatever. So there you go. All right. So now we got this set up. Oh, it doesn't matter which one we choose. So let's just go ahead and grab this one. Hook our alligator clip up to it like so, and come over to our Arduino. Yeah, right. And let's clear output. Let's set this O for override to 1 millisecond. Clear it again, and type T for test. And good, I hooked it up to the right wire, so we're off to the races. All right, so this is sending its 1,000 signals, excuse me, to the board, and it's doing its thing. So we'll go there. Now, while this is testing for Vash, what I would recommend, just, you know, use Brook converters for your drone, and that'll get you on some of the other consoles. There will be some latency addition to it. It just happens. But yeah, and maybe, you know, I have a pretty good working relationship with Brook. Maybe I should call them up and ask them to send me some of their converters so I can add them to the test, because I can use a control stick and use one converter for each, or one stick for all the converters, and that way I can kind of calculate out the performance and show how much it degrades the latency, if you will. Okay, so yeah, maybe I should do that. Okay, so this is doing its thing. All right, it's done. And let's move the mic out of the way because I'm tired of bumping into it. I'm sure you guys are tired of me bumping into it. All right, copy that over. All right, and we'll paste this in. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so in PS4 mode, I'll talk more about the wireless board here in a second, because I have some very specific concerns with that board. Not with Brook, just that board in that implementation. So we'll talk about that. Okay. All right. So we tried this out, and 81% of the time, this is going to catch on the 0 frame, which is great. This is going to catch 19% of the time on the 2nd frame, so that's good. And compared to the Shadaloo, which was an 80-20 split, this is an 81-19 split. I think my findings are kind of in line with what my hypothesis was in terms of its board design. It's probably the exact same code. I'm 99.9% sure it's the exact same processor. I don't have to lift this cover up to look at that. I'm just thinking that that's going to be the same. So I'm not surprised here. Let's go ahead and change our polling rate back to no, that's not right. Not P. Oh, that's weird. Let's I lost my train of thought. Good lord. Okay, so let me change it back to P. Oh, interesting. It says 4 milliseconds. That's weird. I wonder why this is picking it up at 4 milliseconds. Let me just change it to 8, S8. All right, so that way we're consistent. Let's clear the output. Let's type in T, hit enter. All right, there it goes. Not exactly sure why it went to 4. I hope maybe that's just a function of the board. I'm not sure. Yeah, great. I'm glad you have those easy mods. I appreciate you guys putting them in. Like I said, I like making them, and if we can make Fight Sticks better, we will. I kind of like to think of Fight Sticks like I do cars. The factory puts them out. They put them out a certain way, but there's always room for improvements, right? Because the factory, they have to make, you know, the emissions just right. They have to get gas mileage a certain way. They have to get comfort a certain way. And maybe you're like me and you just want to go fast. You don't care about all that stuff. I mean, you care about the environment, but you want to be right at the edge of what's legal. So maybe you do an EGR delete, maybe you change your exhaust, maybe you change your intake, whatever, and you push the bounds of that engine. I think we should do that with Fight Sticks too. If we can change it and we can modify it, let's do it. Let's customize them because they're unique. They should all be unique. Okay. Okay, so cool. This is done, so let's copy all of this. Copy, and let's paste it in here. All right. Okay, so 8 milliseconds, it's 54% of the time on time, 46% of the time skips 1 frame. Let's compare that to the other one, 45 and 55. That's interesting. This one is slightly better in 8 milliseconds, so that's interesting. Let me go ahead and just change the polling back to 4. Let's clear the output. Or let's do P. Oops, not control capital. Let's do P. All right, so polling interval is 4 milliseconds. Let's clear that out, and let's type T, and we'll try that again. Maybe maybe the Shadowloo one did it at 4 milliseconds, and I didn't catch it. If it did, we'll probably just throw it back on the bench and try it again. All right. So it's going. The last one we're going to test today is going to be this guy here. Y'all can see it. There we go. I'm actually going to do a full video tear down and cleaning and upgrading that fight stick for a YouTube video. Show you guys some of the joys of buying used fight sticks in Japan, because that thing's gross. Alright. So this is still going. Alright, so that's done. Copy that. And I am just going to put this here. I'm going to call this 4.0. And I'll paste it here. Alright, and I don't think I shared this with you guys, so let me do that now. Copy link. Alright, so this is this one. Alright. Okay, so at 4 millisecond polling, 72% of the time it's caught fine on frame 0. 28% of the time it gets down to frame 1, so that's pretty decent, I guess. Yeah, so if we look at the PlayStation 4, I think the Shadowloo one was definitely 8 milliseconds, and this one at 4. I don't know why the Arduino wanted to go to 4 milliseconds, but it did. So we'll just go ahead and set this back to 10, and then S10 like that, and then we're going to clear the output, and we'll type T for test, and we'll do the 10 millisecond test and paste the data in and make sure why it gets this. Then we'll go ahead and shift this all over to PlayStation 3 mode and do all of this all over again. So I think the firmware on the TE2 Plus and the TES Plus it's not going to be identical. And I say it's not going to be identical because it can't be identical in the fullest sense. This is going to come up and say this is a Mad Catz TE2 Plus fight stick, and the Shadaloo one's going to come up and say this is a TES Plus fight stick. So the descriptor is going to be different. Then I think this one probably has a different pulling rate maybe for normal, which maybe they did because they want this one. They wanted the TE2 Plus to be the premium stick, more expensive, so it was supposed to be faster or better. Maybe, I don't know. We'll plug the TE2 or the TES Plus in again just to do a pull check on that to make sure that it showed up as 8, and if it does, then we know that's probably the other difference. But I'm fairly confident the board designs between the two are the same. I've used a TE2 Plus Easy Mod in a TES Plus. It was a huge pain in the butt. I don't recommend it. That's why I designed the TES Plus Easy Mod. But I think, again, 99.9% of the hardware is probably the same. All right, so this is done. All right, let's go ahead and copy all this in. Okay, so 45, 55, and oh wow, that's weird. It's 10% or 10 millisecond is way better. Maybe this is just a different, better code. It's possible. It is possible. Now, 10 milliseconds is not something we normally see, so it's not a huge difference. But let's go ahead and make a new spreadsheet here. Put this in PS3 mode. Let's go ahead and switch that over to PS3 mode. Okay, that's all changed. So you'll probably see something here on the screen. Okay, let's clear the output. Type O. It's going to be 1 millisecond. Let's clear it again. Type T. And we launch the test. Excuse me. All right. And here it goes. Thank you, I appreciate that. Now you guys will be able to tell the latency in the stream. From my sneeze to the bless you to thank you. Interestingly, you can use time difference for sound underwater to figure out a rough range between two objects too. There's your physics for the day. Although I guess we're kind of doing some physics now. Okay, let me copy these results here first, and then we'll talk about the Brook wireless board. All right. Okay, 81% of the time, no frame skip. 19% of the time, 1 frame skip. So let's compare that to the PS3 mode. 82 and 18%. I think these are getting close to being the same. Okay, so let's pull. Okay, so in PS3 mode, it goes to 8 milliseconds. You guys can see that on the screen. So let's clear that output and hit T for test. All right, and go. Okay, so the Brook wireless board. Here's my concerns with it. One, it's not going to be tournament legal because it's wireless. DS4 pads, they have to be used with wires in tournaments. So right there, that is going to limit people to using that, casual players. Now you can use the wire, but that defeats the whole purpose of having a wireless fight stick, is if you have to use a wire anyways. So that's one. Two, the antenna implementation. I did a very similar implementation on the Morpheus setup that my buddy Mike developed and I purchased and then produced. It works, but you have this little antenna, even the little short ones that you can buy. They're about 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches long, barely, maybe. You have to use one of those if you're using a metal fight stick, because if you don't, the little tiny antenna on the board is not very strong, and two, the way steel works is it is a Faraday cage, basically, meaning it traps all the radio frequencies inside of the fight stick. Now, if you have a fight stick like this, like the TE2 or TE2 Plus, guess what? There's a big metal panel on top. So unless you get that antenna on the outside, maybe over here hidden inside one of the plastic sidewalls, that is going to take some of the radio frequency energy and reflect it back and away from your PlayStation or whatever. So it requires all the energy to radiate out from the sides. That is going to increase latency. You're going to drop inputs, stuff like that. In my opinion, I think that's what's going to happen. So, because of all that, and with the way my fight sticks are at least designed, I mean, on an all acrylic fight stick, no problems. It's all plastic. Who cares? Probably going to be fine. But I'm still worried about those little antennas. I think a lot of people are going to break those off. Plus, you can't ship those with batteries using the mail unless it's ground. So if anyone ships those via priority mail, air mail, that's dangerous because those are nickel or lithium-ion batteries more often than not, and they catch fire in airplanes. So someone could probably get in trouble if they ship those via air. So that adds some risk. There are a lot of people who ship and don't care about that kind of thing, but I'm not one of those people. So those are my main concerns. Dropped inputs and reflection of the RF energy to your console, breaking the antenna, and then the battery. So me personally, I love all of Brooks' products, but this is not one that I'm going to use, so it's not one that I'll sell on my site. So there you go. Okay, so this is done, and this was the traditional 8 millisecond pull, so let me do this, copy and paste. And let's paste it in here. Okay, 55% of the time, no skip, 45% of the time, 1 frame skip. And, well, it's better than the Shadowloo one, so that's good. Good, all right. Now let's go ahead and set this, oops, let's clear the output. S10, oops, jeez Louise. S10 for 10 millisecond pulls, clear out, and T for test rather, and we'll go there. Okay, Pixel Hans, where's your Nacon review? I know, I still have to do it. We actually talked about that earlier in the stream. I have it, I just got to do it. I'm actually actively looking for an office here in Japan just because I can't continue to try and do everything out of this one tiny room in my house here. It's too much going on for me. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. I see the comments about the wireless board, thinking about it for latency reasons, but I was curious how it would work. Yeah, so all the Bluetooth is just a 2.4 gig. I think it's 2.4 gigahertz radio frequency. It's definitely radio frequency. I'm 90% sure it's 2.4 gigahertz. So that's a very high energy radio wave, very attenuated by steels and irons and stuff like that. So yeah, I think aluminum might be okay, but I have concerns about anything with steel in it. And since quality fight sticks have some steel in them, I get worried. Which means you'd have to put the antenna on the outside. And then you got something that's sticking off that's small that can very easily break. So, yeah. Alright, so this one's done. Let's copy and paste this over. And Okay, 45%, 55%. So 45% of the time it will be caught on frame 0, 55% of the time, at least by the end of frame 1. And compared to the Shadaloo, well, it's better than the Shadaloo. So maybe they did put a little bit more coding thought into this one. Maybe they did use some different hardware, I guess. But the TE2, at least in PlayStation 4 mode, or in 3 mode, is better. PlayStation 4 mode, it is better as well for the usual 8 milliseconds, so there you go. Alright, so that is that for the TE2. Good. Let's go ahead and close this up. Let's unplug it. Let's disconnect the Pro cable here. I screw that in a little bit. Alright, and let's go ahead and put this away. Put this guy back on the shelf. And before we break out the VLX, let's just go ahead and double check this again for the descriptor in usual mode to make sure that it was 8 milliseconds and not 4 like the TE2. Alright, let's clear this out. Let's type P. Yeah, okay, so this was 8 milliseconds, so good. Okay, cool. Louis, welcome to the chat. Alright. So let's go ahead and disconnect this. Alright, we've already done the test on this one. Cable doors are the beginning of my existence. I hate them. Alright. And we'll set that here. Alright. Now, let's get out the premium of the premium, the VLX Diamond. One of the most sought-after arcade sticks on the market. No longer being produced, obviously, but you can get the black one. It's available. The red one's available. PlayStation 4, but this is a PlayStation 3 arcade stick, so we're just doing this one for giggles and because I have it. Alright. So we're gonna remove the 3 screws from the back here. Okay. They're thumb screws, but my thumbs are too fat. This is the first time I've opened this since I bought it. I'm worried. Very worried. Alright. Oh my god, this is disgusting. Gross. Oh my god, I hope you guys can see that. Look at this. That is grody AF. Oh my god. This is disgusting. This is what Japanese arcade sticks look like that have been used. They are disgusting. Ugh. Oh my god. I kind of want to vomit right now. That's okay. I knew it was gross. I could tell by, when I first got it in the mail. And, I mean, oh, I think there's boogers in there. Gross. Oh my god. That is disgusting. That is seriously gross. Oh my gosh. I kind of wish I had gloves. Oh my god. So, here, can you, look, all that nasty grime, that is like years of like boogers and skin and nastiness, and like here on the metal, that is just dust and hair and also more boogers, and it's disgusting. Oh my god. I know you guys can't see that as well as I can, but I will tell you there's a little bit of rust like here, but like all of this stuff here, that's not rust, that's like boogers and phlegm. Ugh. Ugh. Ew. Definitely some nicotine in here, which is not nearly as bad as some of it that I've seen like on arcade cabinets I bought from here. Let me smell it. It actually doesn't smell like cigarettes, so... Oh. Yeah, I think this is just years of use, and not cigarettes, actually. Oh, gross. It's really nasty. Alright, well, let's just... We're gonna have to wash our hands with bleach after this. Ugh. Alright, so we got that disconnected. Let's go ahead and... I haven't even tested this fight stick yet, so I hope it works. Oh, this is grody. I'm definitely not a germaphobe, but I'm not one that wants to just deal with grossness either. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and make a new file here. And this is going to be Hori VLX Diamond. Okay. And we'll copy this for you guys. I'll give you guys a link to the spreadsheet here too. Alright, there's that. Oh wait. That's the wrong one. I mean you can look at that one, but I want to give you the right one. Alright, here's that. Okay. Hori VLX Diamond. Let's see if we get this right on the first try. Probably won't. Come on. Let's see if that's right. And let's go ahead and go to O. And let's clear. And we got lucky the last time. Let's see if we got lucky this time. 50, 50, 90. Ah, nope. We got it wrong. It's alright. We're just disconnect that. And we'll... Alright, good. We're gonna have to rerun this test, but that's okay. Ugh, that fight stick is gross. I know it seems like I'm probably like playing it up a little bit, but it is really that nasty. Let me see if I can just... Oh my god. This is gonna need... I'm gonna need to go get Krug Cutter. Or like Simple Green. I'm definitely gonna need... Oh my god, see? Look at that. That's what I just got off. Yeah, so we got a little surface rust down here. Some caked on snot and rust there. Which makes sense because snot's got liquid in it. Alright, that's enough. Alright, let's go ahead and clear this output and redo this test now. Clear T. Alright. Ugh. Alright. Alright, this is going. Yay. Now, Hori's notoriously have slow PCBs, so I'm very interested and anxious to see what the outcome of these are. I've been told that they're bad enough that people are like, these are garbage. We need to put Brooks in them now. And that's one of the reasons why I did the original VLX Easy mod, was because of just how bad and how slow they were, or at least how bad and slow people perceived they were. So it'll be good to put some actual numbers to paper and see for ourselves here. All right, so keep in mind this was the 1 millisecond overdrive or overclock. So 90% of the time it's going to catch on frame 0, and 10% of the time it's going to catch on frame 1, or pass on frame 1. So that's actually pretty good. If you guys are looking at the spreadsheet, you can see that graph. It's got a very tight, very high spread. So that's really good, actually. So let's go ahead and let's clear this output. Let's set the polling rate back to normal, 8 milliseconds. Throw that again, just for ease, and then type that in. Okay, now we're doing the 8 millisecond test. Is the RAP4 Kai just as bad or no? I don't know. I mean, I got a Pro V down there. We might as well just test it and see. Because I haven't modified that one except changing the layout on it. So we'll do that one next. Why not? Why not? This was the Silent Pro V, which is probably, it's got to use the exact same PCB because the case is the same. Everything about it is the same as the Kai, except it has a silent lever in it. So we'll try that one next. Why not? Let's get through this test and try it out. I'm on a roll. We're gonna just keep doing them. But I really do think that'll be my last one. Because it's almost night, which means it's almost time to go see the lanterns. But while this is going, if you guys follow me on Twitter and Facebook, which I assume you do because you saw my tweet about, hey, we're starting, I've had some issues with my 1989 Fairlady Z twin turbo. The starter failed. Or so I thought. It did not. It's just a nut that holds a wire to it failed, and the wire came loose, which prevented it from working. Nissan fixed that right up. They found that I needed new tie rods, so I got that fixed up. Did an oil change while I was at it, and I pointed out that my steering wheel kind of creaked like an old lady, which was funny, because I call it my fair old lady now. Thank you, Unlucky, or FGC Redline, or whatever you're going by now on Twitter. They got that fixed up, so I got my car back, and it's all running super smooth. And then I proceeded to buy like $1,000 worth of parts for doing a timing belt change because the twin turbo motors are very sensitive to timing. You're supposed to change all the timing stuff out every, I think it's like 60,000 miles or 4 years, whichever comes first. It's been 7 years since I did mine, so we're gonna do it now. And I've also got a nice new Lufton brake kit coming for it, at least for the front, so I'm excited to put all that on and actually have my car stop better, drive better, and have that peace of mind that we're good to go driving it everywhere. Okay, so this is done, which you guys probably saw already. I'm over here wanking on about my car that you guys don't really care about. Let's paste this in. Ooh, okay, so yeah, 26% of the time it'll register on frame 0, and then 74% of the time it's gonna register on frame 2. So not super great. Yeah, let's go ahead and you can see this distribution. Again, it's super wide and it's everywhere from 7 all the way to 16. Yikes. Yeah, so that's again, if you're looking at the spreadsheet, that orange, the overclock, how it's nice and tight, that's how you want all of these graphs to be. And you can see that for the usual 8 milliseconds, it's really shallow, really short, really wide. That's a really wide variation of its latency. So let's go back over here and type S10 to get us into the 10 millisecond mode. Clear the output here so it's easy. T for test and hit enter. And here it goes. And we'll let this run its 1,000 tests. And then I'm gonna go find, at some point this week, black gloves, because I now really want to get this thing cleaned up and the video going on it because it's disgusting. I guess I'll also be able to find out if the VLX Easy mod will work on these without any changes. So that'll be good. Because if there's any changes, I'm going to make them. And I'm going to put a Brook board in this anyways. And I may put a Brook retro board in it as well. So we'll see. Whew, alright. Alright, so that's done. Let's copy this over to our spreadsheet. Okay, well, even worse at 10 milliseconds. 12% of the time, no skip. 84% of the time, skips 1 frame. 4% of the time, it skips 2 frames. Once again, we have a very short and wide spread for the distribution, which is no bueno. So, I now understand what people are saying when it comes to this fight stick. They're not happy with it because the lag is pretty crappy on it. So, there you go. Alright, let's go ahead and disconnect this rig. And, we're just gonna... gross. I'm gonna replace all of these parts anyways, so it's fine, but... yeah. There we go. Let's see if I can... Alright, let me get these started at least. I'm not gonna put them all the way in. Unfortunately, this VLX has seen the catastrophic door failure. It was so bad they didn't even include it when I bought it. I imagine that someone bought this, had it for a long time, the door broke and they just threw it away, which is sad. I could get a black door, paint it white, and put it on here. Alright, let's disconnect that. Alright, so that one's that up. That is that. Okay, let's grab our Kai here. Alright, you can see I did modify this one. This has got crown buttons in it and a crown lever. I do offer this panel for sale on my website. Fits a nice collared lever, no problems. Interestingly, I made this because a customer, asked me about it, and he hasn't bought one. It's weird. It's all good. So let's go ahead and flip this over, and let's open it up, and we'll find out if the... So this is the Real Arcade Pro V Silent Hayabusa for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. Oh, look at that. I never hooked all the buttons up. Well, that's embarrassing. Alright, let's go ahead and plug this guy in. Alright, let's see what the output says on here. Okay, clear it. And let's just grab a random button here. Hopefully we got it. And we'll override to 1 millisecond, and T for test, and input was dropped because I grabbed the wrong one or I don't have a good connection. No, it was just a bad connection. Very good. Don't Alright, so this is just all junk. We can't use this because we had too many dropped frames or dropped inputs. So do that. We'll just double check something here. Make sure that's on PlayStation 4 mode. I think it is. Okay, good. Need a torch. Okay, yeah, it's on PlayStation 4 mode. Good. Alright, so let's go ahead and rerun that test, T for test. This is an overdrive, or excuse me, overclock 1 millisecond mode, so we'll copy that out. While that's doing its thing, I am going to make a new Hori Real Pro Okay. And let me copy this link over for you guys. Alright, here you go. And let's see how our test is doing. Still going. Great. Alright, so that's done. Let's go ahead and put this in. Okay, that's pretty good. 89% no skip, 11% skip 1 frame. That's good, but that's in the overclock mode, so let's go ahead and try this in normal mode. Oh, pulling 4 milliseconds. Interesting. Interesting. Let's go ahead and change it. Let's change it for consistency. We're gonna go 8S. And then, whoops, is that right? Yeah. No, that's not good. 8S. S8. There we go. 8 milliseconds. So we'll clear that, and let's run T. And this is just so we're kind of comparing apples to apples everywhere. Okay. I'll do a 4 millisecond run too. As well. Let this go. So who wants to give me the over-under? Do we think this is more or less than 75% on frame 0? Put the comments in the chat. I'm curious to know what you guys come up with, or what y'all think. We'll see who's right. I think it's going to be under 75%, me personally, but don't let that influence you. I have not run this test, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, I'll wait for everyone to have an opportunity to post up before I paste in the results. Okay, so you think it's going to be higher than 75. All right, thanks, Simon. All right, no more guesses. And paste that in. Oh! Oh! 39%. Oh my god. That is terrible. 39% of the time, it's going to catch it on frame 0. It's going to skip frames. Oh my god. That is slow AF. Yikes. Let's do 4 milliseconds. This was what it came up with the P command. Alright. And we'll go, whoops, damn it. We'll go 4. Alright. Let's try it on 4. That was its default when we hit P for just its, you know, whatever. Hit T. Alright. I have a feeling this is going to be better. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be much better, though. Let's see. USB polling rate. I'm Googling it. Yikes. Hori. You gotta do something. That's not great. Alright, let's see what the 4 is, though. Maybe the 4 will be better. Although I'm still seeing a lot of variations. I'm seeing down to 2 and up to 5, you know, as it's, you know, whizzing by me quickly. Alright. Let's copy and paste. Alright, who wants to give me a guess on the 4? Do we think it's better than 8 millisecond polling? Let's see. What do you guys think? Paste this in. Okay, so that is a lot better than the 8 milliseconds. So it comes up as 75% on the dot of no skips. 25% of the time it's going to skip 1 frame. So that's good. It's not as good as the TE2 Plus or the TES, so that's something to be said. But yeah, yikes. Let me add the descriptor here. Let me see if I can make this work. Descriptor. Alright. 10. Let's go insert in here. Let me just see what happens. Alright, let me let's do S10. We'll clear the output here. Right, D test. Alright, now we're running it at 10, just so that we have the 10 millisecond as well, and we can have a complete set of data on this. So if this is pulling at 4 milliseconds, it's not so bad. If it's pulling at 8, it's kind of terrible. If it's pulling at the 1, it's pretty good. So let's see what 10 comes up with. Yikes. And then I'm gonna have to dork around with the graph and see what I can see if I can make the graph include the 10 as well as the 4. Probably pretty easy, but actually I know it's pretty easy. I'm not a Google Docs guy. I'm an Excel guy. And it's not because I don't like Google Docs. It's just because I use Excel at work all the time. Because, you know, open source software and government organizations, they don't like each other. Alright. Copy. And let's see what this comes up with. Okay. Oh, alright, let me see. Alright, so there's probably more. It looks like there's more to the spreadsheet than I can do. So let me do this. New file, Make a copy. There's 2. And we'll just paste it here. Alright. Just delete this. And we'll delete this one. Okay. So at 10, it's 22.0% skip. Excuse me, 22% of the time, no skip, 77% of the time, 1 frame skip, and 1% of the time, 2 frame skips. So again, another short and kind of wide, variation here. If we come back over here and we look at the 4, you know, it's a little bit more narrow, a little bit higher. Oops. I don't know what I just did that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it looks like as long as we use the normal 4, it's okay. If you look at it at 8, it's 39% 0 skip. So it's not. I guess as long as it's pulling at the 4 milliseconds, which is based on the device that you're plugging into, it'll be good. But if it pulls at 8 milliseconds, it's going to be slow. So there you go. So there's kind of our testing for the day on this stream. It went much better than the last time I streamed this because I had everything working ahead of time. Uploading all this stuff is a lot easier than the previous stream. You can look at it on YouTube and see all the stuff that I did to get the setup working. Really, like I said, at the very beginning of this, all you need is an Arduino Genuino Uno and a USB host shield for it. The first time I did this, my USB host shield wasn't working properly, and I had to send it back for a refund and get another one. But now that I did, it's good to go. You're going to need a fight stick and just a standard USB cable. Wide put this all up on his website, or his GitLab, which you can just type in Google WYDD lag test, and you'll get to it pretty quick. Building this little rig costs maybe $30 total. You can probably go a little bit cheaper if you find some of the, all Chinese knockoff stuff, Uno knockoffs, etc. No problems. And you can do these tests and verify them for yourself as well. I'm going to incorporate this test scheme into my breaking down the stick videos that I'm going to continue to do. I know I haven't been doing very much, but I'm going to continue to make those when I have time, and I'm going to incorporate this and show the graphs and all that good stuff in those videos so that people get a good sense of exactly what they're getting and what they can expect in terms of responsiveness, because this is a highly repeatable and good solution for doing these tests. So with that, I'm Jason. I'm going to sign off and go see things in Japan today. Please, please, please subscribe. If you're watching me on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon and all that stuff so you can see when I go live in the future. On Twitch, go ahead and sub, but I'm going to continue to stream on both Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. Make sure if you want to see more of these videos and you want to support the channel, do more pre-made, curated content, make sure you go check out my website, jasonscustoms.com. Maybe pick up some buttons, pro cables, even a fight stick or two. And all those profits get folded right back into these things because it's just one big ecosystem here. And buying a bunch of fight sticks to test is not cheap. So I appreciate your guys' help with that. Until next time, I'm Jason, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.